Dr. Megan Thomas, and I'm delighted to share with you some information about sleep that I hope you will find helpful for both your child and your own sleep. I'm a developmental paediatrician and associate professor at the IWK and Dalhousie University, a medical co-lead for the Provincial Preschool Autism Services. Sleep is also a special interest of mine and the main focus of my research. Sleep problems are very common, and the information in this video is not meant to replace medical assessment and advice. If you do have ongoing concerns about your child's sleep, reach out to your family doctor or healthcare team. I want to start by acknowledging that IWK Health is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people for over 13,000 years. As a health authority in Mi'kma'ki, Nova Scotia, focused on serving women, children, youth, families, and gender diverse people, we commit to working together with Indigenous communities and leaders to co-create a path forward focused on reflection, understanding, awareness, reconciliation, and action that honours the knowledge, wisdom, and strengths of Indigenous peoples and recognises the historic and present-day harms and trauma experienced by Indigenous peoples. So what are we going to cover in this Sleep Basics video? I'm going to highlight some of the many benefits of sleep, try and describe what we mean by healthy sleep, talk about things we know help us to sleep well, think about a good sleep routine, give some tips for a bedroom environment that helps us to sleep well, and highlight why consistency with a bedtime routine is so helpful. Why is sleep so important? Well, sleep plays a role in many different body processes and is important for both physical and mental health. There are some things our bodies only do when we are asleep, and how our bodies work when we are awake and when we are asleep is very different. We know that sleep helps with our emotion and helps us cope with frustrations and stress better. And without enough sleep, we are much more irritable, intolerant, and even have weaker social interaction skills. Sleep recharges us and helps us to have enough energy for the day. It helps with focus and attention, and sleep literally clears out our minds and organizes our thoughts and emotions, helping us to learn and remember new information and skills. And it's also a time when lots of different hormones are released or suppressed, which is important for our child's growth and development and our ability to fight off illness and recover from injury and infection. Okay, so what do we mean by healthy sleep? While sleep is vital for our physical and mental well-being, how and when we sleep is also dependent on where we live, what time of year it is. You remember clocks go back and forward twice a year. What our daycare, school and work schedules are, and our own personal body clock, as well as how old we are. So by appropriate timing, I mean that you are able to fall asleep when you want to and wake up when you need to in order to fit in with your own and the community you live in's expectations and needs. So your child sleeping from 1 a.m. till 12 midday may be giving them enough sleep, but it's going to interfere with daycare or the school run or you getting enough sleep. Adequate duration. This means both how long you sleep for and how long you sleep for in one go. So younger children will have naps during the day and a longer sleep overnight, gradually moving to dropping the daytime naps and stretching the duration at night. At least That is what we aim for to fit in with routines in Canada. So your child could have 6 2-hour naps and meet their total sleep quantity, but that does not meet their sleep quality needs or appropriate timing needs. So by good quality sleep, we mean that there are sufficient amounts of all the different stages of sleep, which include light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, which is when we dream. And finally, absences of sleep disturbances. By that I mean we're not being woken up during the night by pain or a cough or noise or other things. So as you can see, the expected amounts of sleep vary by age, but like everything, there can be healthy variations to these amounts. But these are a good guide as to whether your child is likely to be getting a sufficient amount of sleep. Please note that if preschoolers are still having a daytime nap, they will naturally be needing to sleep less long at night. Most children will stop needing naps between the ages of 3 and 4, though some will be fine without a nap younger than that, and some later than this. Daytime naps, when you developmentally need them, actually help you sleep better at night. So if you are feeling you're wanting to look at some ways to help your child sleep well, let's explore some strategies for healthy sleep. There are 2 main biological processes that control sleep: the circadian rhythm, also known as our body clock, and sleep pressure, which builds up from the time we last slept. The most powerful driver of our body clock is light, especially bright daylight. So this means that we want to make sure we're getting lots of light soon after getting up to set our body clock for the day, help us feel wide awake, and perhaps surprisingly, the more time we can spend in sunshine in the morning, the easier it is to go to sleep at night. However, 15 to 30 minutes will make a big difference and is usually sufficient. We also need to remember that what we do during the day is very important in helping us sleep at night. We need to get exercise and have time doing things that we like and spending time with people we love. It's also helpful to eat regularly during the day, and unless your child is a baby less than 9 months of age, or your child has a special medical condition that your doctor has told you requires food overnight, it is important not to eat food or drink milk overnight. This is because eating food and drinking milk will actually interfere with healthy sleep. Also, try and avoid sugary, salty, or caffeinated foods and drinks such as coffee, tea, and chocolate. Yes, chocolate, for at least 6 hours and ideally longer before bedtime. And if you want more ideas about different activities to do with your child to help them be active during the day and sleep well at night, this is a great website. And on here, they break the information down into different age groups, so there's lots of helpful information for all the family. Let's talk about napping. If your child still needs a nap, try to make sure this is scheduled earlier in the day so they're not sleeping after 3 p.m. If your child no longer needs regular naps, or you think they don't need them anymore, try and manage the typical energy dip we get around 3 p.m. by going for a walk, having a dance, or other moving activity, or a drink of water and a healthy snack. If your child does fall asleep, wake them after 20 minutes so that they've had a bit of a power nap but have not gone into a deep sleep when it's hard to wake them up again. and so that they've not used up their sleep pressure, which is going to make it hard for them to go to sleep at bedtime. You may well have heard it's a good idea to avoid all electronic devices and screens for an hour before bed. There are two main reasons for this. The first one is that blue light emitted from screens suppresses melatonin production, and melatonin is the hormone which helps you fall asleep. It's therefore a good idea to dim house lights and avoid white and blue LED lights as well. If your child does need a nightlight, use one that is red, orange, or a warm yellow and as dim as they are able to be happy with. The second reason to avoid screens an hour before bed is that while they can appear to be soothing for the child, as they will often stop jumping around and sit or lie quietly, their brain is still really active, and if they do fall asleep, they will usually get less deep sleep, which tends to most often happen in that first half of the night. And it's really important to get good deep sleep. So try moving watching TV or playing on a tablet to earlier in the evening and have less stimulating activities like reading a story, drawing or colouring, or a soothing bedtime song before bedtime. Following the same bedtime routine for the 20 minutes or so before bed is very helpful in helping our bodies and minds prepare to go to sleep. A visual timetable can be used to help your child understand what is happening and to support transitions between activities, and I'll show you an example of that next. You want your child's bedroom to be not too stimulating or exciting, but rather comfortable, dark, cool, and quiet. If there is noise from traffic or other things, sometimes white noise from a fan or calming music or rain sounds can be helpful. If these are used while your child is falling asleep, they are usually best kept on all night to help the child sleep well throughout the night. And here's an example of a visual timetable. Keep it short, sweet, and clear. So in this one, there's bath time, teeth brush, story, and bedtime. Remember, sleep is a skill and a good habit. While some people are naturally gifted at sleeping, many of us need to practice to learn to sleep well, and all skills take a while to learn. The good news is that as your child and you start to sleep better, it usually will lead on to even better sleep. So take one step at a time and keep going. We usually expect to start to see some improvements if you're able to consistently introduce some positive change for at least 2 weeks. But it's really important that how you and your child sleep meets your family values and your own home situation. So what do you think good sleep would look like for you and your child? You may have heard people talk about sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene refers to those habits that support a good night's sleep and the things in your bedroom that help you sleep well, such as a comfy bed. So sleep hygiene includes setting a sleep schedule where you go to sleep and get up at the same time each day and no more than an hour different at the weekend, where you follow a clear, consistent bedtime routine and you keep your bed just for sleeping. Bedtime should also be a happy, calm time for you and your child. So remember that the routine you choose is going to depend on the age and developmental stage of your child and what they find soothing and enjoyable but not too stimulating. You want your child to have built up a good amount of sleep pressure, that need to go to sleep, but not to be overtired. You want your child to associate going to bed with going to sleep and not laying awake bored for hours or jumping in and out of bed. So you don't want them to go to bed too early, but also not so late that they're grumpy, hyperactive, and difficult to manage. It can be helpful to choose a bedtime by working back from the time a child needs to get up in the morning, guided by the expected hours of sleep for their age. So for instance, if your child is 3 years of age, they need between 10 and 13 hours of sleep. If they need to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning, then bedtime needs to be around about 7 p.m. at night. Sometimes we rely on things to help us fall asleep. We call these things sleep associations. Does your child need something to help them fall asleep? Sometimes sleep associations can be helpful, like a favourite stuffy or particular bedding. But sometimes they're not helpful, such as having to feed from the breast or bottle, having to have a parent present, being held, rocked or cuddled, watching the TV or the iPad or mobile phone, or even being driven in the car. So why are these things not helpful? Well, it's because we all wake up several times overnight normally. And for young children, their sleep cycles are only about an hour long. So it's normal to have a brief awakening or arousal up to every hour overnight. And how we settle back to sleep again after these awakenings is the way we went to sleep at the beginning of the night. So if we've been feeding from a bottle or watching TV or sitting on the sofa or had a parent with us, when we wake up, we're going to look for these things to help us fall back to sleep again. So it is an important skill to learn to fall asleep independently in our own bed at the beginning of the night, unless you choose and want to go sleep, as that would be the usual way that your family sleeps. So in summary, have the bedroom as a good place for sleeping. Have minimal to no light when sleeping. Limit distractions in the bedroom, and ideally no TV. Bed should only be used for sleeping, as we want to associate bed with sleep. And don't use bedrooms or bedtime as a punishment. And practice makes perfect. Establish a routine and stick to it. The routine should be predictable and not too long, ideally around about 20 minutes. And remember that predictability is soothing and it prepares our minds and bodies for sleep. Thank you.